I want to welcome you to Jackman Music's Minister Through Music series on choral conducting and choral singing. So if you have been called as a ward choir director in your ward, and you don't have any experience in directing choirs, the first thing to remember is nobody in the church really has experience in what they're called to. I was a finance clerk once. It doesn't mean I have an accounting degree to become a finance clerk, and you do not need a music degree to become a musician. You just need to remember your purpose, and you need to remember that the Lord will help give you the talents and skills that you need. There are many resources that you can tap into, many resources online. You can order music and purchase it. There's free arrangements. You just need to be aware of what's out there. Jackman Music has a great selection of things that are difficult and some that are more simple, things you can scale down to your needs in your choir. A lot of times we say, well, I don't have enough people in my choir. Well, you can find people in your congregation, in the ward you live in or branch, to join your choir in a number of ways. One way is make sure that they know when they come to your choir rehearsal that it won't be another meeting that they have to go to, that it will be something enjoyable where they will feel the Spirit in your rehearsal. Also, remember that those rehearsals should not be long. There's plenty of things that are long in this world, and Sundays are packed as it is already. Most choirs meet on Sundays to rehearse before or after church. One thing as a bishop I try to do is help our ward council and talk to them about when the best time to have a ward choir would be for all who would be interested. You don't want to schedule your ward choir if your bishop, for example, is in bishopric meeting and he wants to participate. It doesn't mean he can be there every rehearsal, but make it so when anyone comes, whenever they do come, they feel welcome. One thing you may do is create a brief survey, maybe Sunday before church for a half hour, after church for a half hour, or at another time, and then pass that out during your Sunday school hour if your bishop says it's okay, and let them choose and gather some feedback on when would be best for them to be involved in a ward choir practice. Another thing is you may need to decide where to have your ward choir practice. We have 3 units in our building, so we can't have the choir practice in the chapel every Sunday. So we currently meet at my home, and of course you'd have to have a piano and the space to fit your ward choir. We're a little crunched in there, but that's okay. There's a nice feeling in the home when we sing together. And some people are more likely to come if it's in a home. They don't feel intimidated or feel that they need to get dressed up again to head back out if it's after church. So all of these considerations will help you as you plan. Consult with your ward music chairman and consult on what schedule you would like to perform in your sacrament meetings. There are different ways to hold rehearsals. Some people just have a walk-up choir. That works for some situations. Some have a regular rehearsal. Some take the summer off. Some take other times off. It really is up to you, and you can receive revelation on how best to fulfill that calling for you and your ward. But it's important to realize the purpose of the ward choir. There are various purposes that I've seen in my service in this regard. One is to help members feel the Spirit while they're singing, while they're actually singing in the rehearsal, and fellowship with one another. Another blessing is those who are called to lead the choir, like you, get to grow and get to learn from each other. Another blessing is getting youth involved. And I want to share just one idea that I've done. When I lived outside of Utah, I lived in Missouri for a little while. I was in the bishopric, and our good bishop said, "Brother Hale, I want you to help these young people learn how to conduct music. I want you to teach them how to rehearse it. And you're still in the bishopric, but I want you to do this. And that connection with the youth by being in the bishopric led to a natural flow. And I was able to invite different young men and young women to come to rehearsal. And I would teach them whatever they needed to learn. Some were more skilled in different areas than others, but I would help them learn conducting gestures. I would help them learn to how to move a rehearsal along. I would help them to gain confidence in front of other people by having eye contact with adults. It can be hard for some young men and some young women. And then I would let them choose a piece sometimes. Sometimes I would have one that I feel would work best for them. And then when they were ready, we would schedule that Sunday, and I would go up and sing with the choir and then watch the faces of these young men and these young women. And many times I couldn't make it through that performance because I saw the confidence on their face and I saw the power that they were feeling by being a leader and by having this experience. This is something that can change a young man or a young woman's life. Not that they will have to go into music, but I know one young man that has chosen to go into music because of the successful experience he had there and his musical upbringing, and then also his missionary experiences. And he is loving his college music experience right now. So give your youth a chance to stand up there in front of the ward choir. Give them a chance to learn, to fail a little bit, but to fail softly. Let them fail in a way that you are there to catch them and help them know, and the ward choir members will support them. I had one young man who was struggling with his testimony. I asked his parents if they thought he might be interested in having this experience. He happened to be a percussionist in his high school. So I reached out to him and I said, I'll call him John. I said, John, would you like to lead the ward choir? And I didn't know what it was in his heart, but he said, that is something I've always wanted to do. And he said, I'll give it a try. He hadn't come to church for some time, but he came and he started conducting. And then we let the ward members know that this is what was going on. And people that have never been a part of the ward choir but loved this young man were there to support him. They were there early, and the choir was bigger than it's ever been. And they sounded beautiful. And when he conducted in that sacrament meeting, the Spirit was there. So allow this opportunity for different people to grow. If you're the ward choir director, you might be the one that gets to teach a young man or young woman. Or find somebody in your ward that has those skills to come and mentor them, to help them, and help them feel successful.